The United States Secretary of Energy speaks in Houston. Oil executives speak on the Ukraine crisis. Occidental Petroleum Corp board members step down. Thank you for tuning in to Construction Business TV. My name is Joshua Vita, and this is your Houston Weekly Update. Thank you for tuning in to Construction Business TV. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. We're glad to have you here with us. I'd like to first mention, if you are in residential real estate, commercial real estate, or a trade of any kind involving construction business, go to the description right down there below to schedule a free interview to be featured here on Construction Business TV. Also, make sure that bell and subscribe button also down below to stay up to date on what's happening in construction business. Okay, let's hit that first story. Okay, our first story of today is about the United States Secretary of Energy speaking in Houston. So on March 9th, U.S. Secretary of Energy Jennifer Granholm issued a clear call to the oil and gas industry in Houston. Granholm asked upstream companies to produce more hydrocarbons and extended an offer of partnership with the Biden administration. Granholm also praised Shell plc, BP plc, and ExxonMobil Corporation for announcing their intent to exit operations in Russia. But more action is needed to stabilize markets, she said. The Secretary also calls for higher production volumes from these companies. This is all going on during CERAWeek, which is a prominent Houston event for the energy industry that runs from March 7th to the 11th. Okay, our next story up today is about oil executives speaking on the Ukraine crisis at CERAWeek. So CERAWeek started on March 7th and will end today on March 11th. And this year on March 8th, the conversations were largely focused on the U.S. ban on Russian coal and fossil fuels by the Biden administration and the future going forward during the Ukraine crisis. Ryan Lance, CEO of ConocoPhillips, said, "We need to start thinking about the medium and long term here a little bit. We need to start planning what it means around energy security and national security." Vicky Holub, President and CEO for Occidental Petroleum, has replied by saying, "Amid high oil prices, I think there has to be growth in supply at some point where we can make it happen. When we get the supply chains under control, there has to be growth." Many of the other speakers had similar viewpoints pertaining to growing the industry as well as challenges with coming off the tail end of COVID and supply chain issues. Okay, our last story of today is about Occidental Petroleum Corporation's board member stepping down when a shareholder sells all his stocks in the company. So Carl Icahn's company has sold his entire stake in Occidental Petroleum Corporation's common stock. This resulted in Andre Langham and Gary Hewitt both resign from the board of directors for Oxy on March 4th, and the company said in a March 7th filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Icahn is reported to have been critical of Oxy's acquisition of Anadarko Petroleum Corporation. Icahn's position was that Oxy should have been a seller and not a buyer. In order to take the Oxy deal, Anadarko had to pay Chevron a $1 billion breakup fee. Icahn recently has been reducing his stake in Oxy and sent a letter to the company's board on March 6th, confirming he sold the remainder of his shares in the company. Thank you for watching this edition of Weekly Update. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next week.